It's time for
Torque Management!
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the garage. Today we are talking about a hot topic everybody's been asking about. We're diving into torque management. And if you have not watched my torque tuning versus torque management, where I talk about torque modeling and how it differs from torque management, I'll drop a link in the corner. That's a good kind of primer before we get into this. Now, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. This video is going to be the overview, kind of where we just talk about what torque management is, why it's a thing, what it does, and how it affects us as tuners. There are going to be additional videos where we go into specific ECU setups and look at the different torque management parameters and things like that. So if there's a specific ECU that you want me to dive into first, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Tell me which ECU or which year, make, and model of vehicle that you want to hear about torque management first. And of course, we'll only be focusing on automatic vehicles, and there's a reason behind that. You'll figure that out pretty quick as we dive into this. What exactly is torque management? Well, we have to go back to the beginning when they started using torque management, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. As technology was coming along in the automotive world and we were going from 2 speeds to 3 speeds to 4-speed transmissions, we were running into issues where as the transmission had additional gears being added, there was less room for all the gears without making the transmission housings huge. So everything had to get a little bit smaller. It wasn't a real big issue, even on the 4 speeds. But whenever the 4 speeds started coming out, and then they started considering going to 6-speed automatic transmissions, once again, where you're trying to jam the same amount of stuff or more stuff in the same amount of space for the most part, you have more delicate pieces being put in there. So even if you are running something like a 6L80, which is pretty resilient, it's not going to be as resilient as a Turbo 400 or a Powerglide or something like that. And that is because the manufacturers who design and develop these transmissions can get away with that because of things like torque management. As these things actually become more complicated and more susceptible to being able to break, we had to find a solution that allowed us to run these transmissions in vehicles that are making ever increasing amounts of horsepower. That's where torque management comes in. Back in the day, everything was basically manual valve bodies, and so pressures were set up, and the transmission was designed to take as much horsepower as the motor could put out, no matter kind of what the condition is. So the transmission had no idea what was going on, and the engine really didn't have any idea what the transmission was doing. There was no communication back and forth, and so they had to be engineered in a way that whenever the transmission would shift in a wide open throttle shift, first to second or something like that, it could handle all of the stresses and strains put on there. That's where technology comes into it, and torque management. As the TCM evolves and becomes its own thing separate of the ECM, they were able to start creating these calculations where the engine could say, hey, here's how much torque I'm outputting. Well, the engineers could go in and say, well, if we exceed this amount of torque during a shift, we are most likely going to do damage to the transmission. So what would happen if I, as the transmission, were to say, hey, engine, I'm getting ready to shift. Could you do me a favor? Dial the power back a little bit. That signal would get sent to the ECM. The ECM then pulls timing, and that lowers the power output while the transmission shifts. Whenever the transmission does, says, hey man, I'm done, back into what is basically a solid state operational mode, send all the power that you got back to me. That is the basics of torque management, and that's kind of where it started out. If you start looking in the early 2000s, there really wasn't a lot of torque modeling going on as far as utilizing torque and torque tuning, but that was being modeled enough that the engine could let the transmission know we are getting ready or we are making this much power, and the transmission could then say, hey, just cut the power back a little bit. That's basically what we are looking for on the primary thing, is to say, okay, we don't want to necessarily cut that much power back in between shifts. We want to, this will firm up our shifts, this will speed up our shifts, this will allow us to stay in the power because we don't have to drop timing and ramp timing back up. So that is kind of the critical thing that torque management does. The other thing that it does is it acts as traction control. So whenever we see things like tire slip, And there's a couple other things based on the different years that can actually say, hey, you're delivering too much torque to the tires, and it'll do the same thing where it can either pull timing back or it can even actually go in and do fuel cut. I don't know that any cars that I know of are using the fuel cut option on the traction control, but a lot of it is throttle control and timing control. So that being said, if you do know of one that does use the fueling control, you can hit that up below. So those are the two big things. Now, what is the difference from the different generations? As I said, the earlier models didn't have a lot of torque modeling built into them. Pretty simple, where it's looking at basically the VE table, some known constants, and it is generating a torque number. That torque number is then being limited based on a number provided by the transmission on shift points, things like that. There's not a lot of parameters that we'll be adjusting on those, and there's not a lot of parameters in the abuse section as far as the engine. And honestly, even on the newer model stuff, there's not a lot of parameters as far as torque management goes, specifically with the engine. The engine doesn't really, police itself on creating power. It's going to be everything after the engine. So we get into the mid to late 2000s, then we start seeing some torque modeling. Back then, we didn't know it was there. They hadn't discovered all the PIDs or knew what they were. They hadn't developed the torque modeling or the virtual torque tables out yet. And so we were kind of blindly doing things. But the cool thing about it is we knew enough about torque management to know that it was killing our transmission times. So to give you a prime example, on my 2008 Corvette, I bought it brand new off the showroom floor, took it to the drag strip in Ark City, Kansas, and ran it. First time out, I think it ran a 12.7 or a 12.8 in the quarter mile. I went in and just dialed back the torque management on the transmission alone and ran a 12.3 the subsequent pass. And so that just goes to show you how much power it robs from the engine in order to keep that transmission safe, because as I said earlier, that transmission is not as robust. There's a lot of people out there who tell you that the 6L80 is a robust, and it is a robust 6-speed transmission, but it is not going to be as strong as a 4L80 usually, and it's definitely not going to be as strong as things like the Powerglide and the Turbo 400. But once again, those are manual valve body things. They have to be strong because they can't send a signal saying, hey, we need to dial that torque back. We get into the, as I said, the mid-generation of torque management, as I call it, the 2005 to 2010 range. Then we really go deep past that into the Gen 5 area, where we have full-blown torque modeling. Everything is basically controlled off torque. Your throttle body is controlled off torque. Your everything. And some point in time, it is looking at a torque value. And so there's multiple torque values that are being calculated, as I've talked about. And because of that, there are some specific parameters that we can go in there and adjust, and that will actually kind of waken up the vehicle. But let's talk about the downsides of it real quick, because there are some downsides. This is a safety system that has been put in place by the manufacturer. Now, I will tell you one thing. The main priority behind developing that safety system that was put in there by GM is to protect the equipment during the warranty period. They did, if they can reduce the transmission failures to where it's only 1 out of 100, just by adding in this little bit of code, they're going to do that. Whereas if they did not have something like this in there, they would either have to have a more robust transmission that would cost more money, or they would have to accept the fact that they might destroy more transmissions. The way that torque management is set up from the factory, on a factory car, on a factory tune, you can really beat the crap out of these things. You're not going to really do much damage, but you are severely limited. You could be talking about having half of your power pulled out whenever you should be out there being able to do smoky tire burnouts, hard shift. It's just, as I said, this thing really will tamp down on your power. But just because it does that doesn't mean it's something that we want to completely remove. We want to go in and make educated changes to torque management to make sure at the end of the day we're getting the maximum amount of performance that we can out of the vehicle without purposefully destroying parts. Let's talk about what we are going to do. We are going to go in, as I said, identify the different parameters that make the biggest bang for the buck without compromising our mechanical integrity. Specifically, we're going to look at some of the ways in the later models, how it affects shift timing, shift speed, power delivery through the torque model. As you will see, there are certain limiters that we can basically do away with because we want to focus, we want to strip it down and keep it simple, where we've got the transmission controlling the shift, dialing the torque back specifically for that, but we want to change it to where it does it the least amount possible to get through the shift and then get power delivery back on the road. Things like that. So that being said, make sure if you have not already subscribe down below, throw a thumbs up down there, and make sure and hit up the comments. Tell me what platforms that you want to see, and I'm going to try and use that to guide this as we go. I will be looking at least 4 or 5 different platforms based on ECUs. There will be some that are pretty short, pretty simple, pretty easy. I know for a fact like the GTO ECUs are great. There's not much to the torque management in there, so we'll rip through those real quick. But as we get into things like the Corvettes, they get a little bit more in depth, and then, as I said, the Gen 5 stuff is it can get really deep. There's a lot of information there, and there's only a few parameters we actually need to adjust to get the best bang for the buck. And honestly, on the Gen 5s there is more about the torque modeling. The torque management works whenever your torque model is correct. And that's kind of the same thing on the earlier torque model, late Gen 4 stuff, LS3 stuff like that. So, once again, everybody, I want to thank you for stopping by the garage, and we'll see you soon for some more torque management talk.